Work Wisdom has an intern for the first time who's intuitive, funny, and a fantastic writer. She's been writing and researching for us since January. Coincidentally, the poet Mary Oliver died in January 2019, and many of us at Work Wisdom love her and are inspired by her work. In one of her poems, she asks, "What will you do with your one wild and precious life?" Today, the intern is going to tackle that beautiful question. Welcome to The Behaviorist with Work Wisdom, where we help you adopt high-performance mindsets, behaviors, communication, and culture. I'm your host, Sarah Colantonio. Our intention for the Behaviorist podcast is to share accessible, concrete practices that you can weave into your whole life to begin a shift toward joy and meaningful achievement. Today, we're turning our focus to purpose on the planet, and we're grateful to have you, Hillary. How do you say your last name?
It's Scholes.
Scholes.
Yeah.
Okay. Hillary Scholes. I'm so
Super
sorry to
German.
ask you on the podcast.
Okay.
Hillary Scholes from the Work Wisdom team joining us. Thank you for making the drive.
Thank you for having me. Yes.
Yeah, this is great. So the first question I want to ask is sort of personal. Why did you become so interested in this subject? I know you have a real passion for helping people grow through self-awareness. And you're really gifted at being like a mirror for people so they can grow. So what drove you to this particular topic?
Sure. Yeah. I think Kedren actually helped me define it, first of all. I think it's a good way to start to answer that question. She had asked me, what is my purpose on the planet, very early on.
Yeah.
It's a huge question.
She gets deep, right?
Yeah, I know. I was like, cool, this is where we're at. No, but that's great. That's how I work too, actually. So it's really refreshing to meet somebody like that. So right away, just with some quick journaling, I came to that I feel like part of my purpose is to help others realize that they already have answers of their own. And I think what drew me to thinking about helping people find their own answers is that I'm a seeker as well. So it's really easy for me to slip into that mindset. So I find myself in professional and personal situations going there all the time.
So tell me a little bit more about what you've learned.
What I've learned about, especially about thinking about purpose, is that we don't always personally think about ourselves as having one purpose. Organizations usually have one purpose, and when we're working for an organization, we usually know what that purpose is. Right. But as people, we get mixed up either in the organization that we're working for, or in maybe somebody else's purpose.
Yeah.
I think that happens more often, and I'm speaking from personal experience, and I think my personal experience is everybody's experience usually at some point. So yeah, I think that what I've learned is that it's such a common thing to not know your purpose. So to know your purpose just, I think, takes your experience to another level within yourself and within your organization.
So what's the process? So you said Kedren helped you define it. What did you do? So you said journaling, but is there more to that?
Yeah, I think so. Because somebody like me, I'm always seeking. So it's easy for me to sit down and write for a half an hour and then come to it. Yeah. But I don't think that's everybody's way of getting to themselves in an inner way. I actually think a really great way is to ask others. So, go to your best friend or go to your mom and say, what am I all about in your eyes? Yeah. And it's really cool to hear what people think of you in that way, because usually they're going to be genuine and nice. I mean, most of our friends and family are not going to come back with something negative. So I think that's a really great way to start too.
Okay. How is it beneficial to understand the purpose that you have, your purpose on this planet?
Yeah, I think the buzzword is whole person. So when you're a whole person, you can contribute easier, faster, and better. If we think about it in an organizational way, because that's where my mind goes, if our organization is focused, then they can do more, better, and faster, and with more authenticity. So when you have an authentic whole person, that person can function a lot better in their lives, I believe, but also contribute better in the organization or in their personal lives.
Yeah, I talked to somebody who is working in an organization where the focus is and the purpose isn't that clear. It's really vague, and they're so frustrated. And so it's hard for them to get motivated to do work, and they just feel like they're kind of flailing. I feel really badly for them because this is something that could be like the magic, like, oh, that's what I'm doing here every day.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So can you give some advice maybe for that person, like what advice for other people, how they can find their own purpose?
Yeah. And that's good. It's good for me to hone into as well, because I'm a super macro person. I work on a really large level. If I don't understand the vision of a company or the mission of a company, I don't understand what I'm doing either. Yeah. So I totally get what that person's going through. I think the concrete way is to, in that organization, find somebody who's passionate about what they do. Yeah. Because if they're passionate and they're working at that company, they've figured out how to incorporate what the organization wants and needs. So if you find passionate people, usually those people can actually help you focus. Yeah. Even if the organization isn't acting in a focused way, maybe that person can help you just personally get through the day and really organize yourself around your tasks so you feel like you're contributing.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to find, so I feel like working at Work Wisdom, I know my purpose, but if I didn't, what should I do? How do I find my own purpose?
Right. I think it does. I'm a little conservative in this way. It's a lot of spiritual work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You could take a seminar and or like a one-day workshop and get closer to it. Yeah. But I do think it's almost a lifelong purpose, lifelong work to do that. So I don't think it should be easy. I think it should be a really deep, not necessarily serious all the time, but a very thoughtful process, and to understand that our purpose is not an end-all be-all. The journey to find that purpose is just as important.
Yeah. Yeah, it does seem like it's like the meaning of life. It's like a huge thing. Yeah. And, maybe I wonder if some people are thinking, well, it might mean that I leave a job, or it might mean, it might really impact some major life decisions. So
definitely,
sometimes it can be easier to just not do the thing.
Right. Totally.
How is this learning all about this, you think, going to impact your next chapter?
That's always a huge question for me, because I live a lot in the present, but I also totally live in the past. I'm not a perfect person. And so the future is always like this huge, scary question for me, which is great. That's part of something that I know I have to look at. Yeah. Although on the other hand, it kind of inspires me, because I think that I don't have to know what's next. But I do think, just practically, so far as this internship, which has been amazing so far, I feel like every week I'm learning in leaps and bounds about myself and organizations and everything around me. But I think where I'm going to hopefully take it is to just be more thoughtful about it in my personal and professional life. I think I have it, I can sit down and think about it, and we can talk about it in this intellectual way, but to really thoughtfully use it every day is a different level, and I think could be more helpful. Okay, last question. What's the most surprising or weirdest thing, I'm going to ask you this, about working at Work Wisdom? I love this question. The first thing I thought of, and I don't know if I said this before, was Work Wisdom we're intellectual misfits.
Yeah.
And that is very comforting to somebody like me who, like I said, I work on a macro level. But it's also really what's needed today. And I think the weirdest thing with that is that everybody is so talented, but everybody is so accessible and has really big hearts. And sometimes those two things might not go together, but they do here. And I think it's great.
That's great. That makes me feel so good. That's really cool. I think you're right that I've noticed that in other people on the team too. Yeah. There's an accessibility there that I
it's
appreciate.
unique. Yeah, it really is. And I think that's why people are drawn to us, because that's what we're all looking for anyway.
Yeah. Connection.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hillary. I'm so grateful that you're part of the team and for being part of this movement of helping world changers in the workplace enhance their individual and collective team performance. Thank you, listeners, for downloading The Behaviorist, and we hope you'll subscribe. Please reach out to us through our website, workwisdomllc.com, where you can enjoy Work Wisdom Press and productions, ask questions, and give suggestions of topics you'd like us to explore in future episodes. As is our custom, we'll leave you with 1 Minute Wisdom by Anthony DeMello. When a new disciple came to the master, this is the catechism he was usually subjected to. Do you know the one person who will never abandon you in the whole of your lifetime? Who is it? You. And do you know the answer to every question you may have? What is it? You. And can you guess the solution to every one of your problems? I give up. You.